Hey guys, it's May May, and tonight we're going to do exactly what I promised you, and that is discuss craft fairs. So in our Freestyle Friday this week, and for the next few weeks, that's what we'll be discussing. Now I tried to come up with a way to make this fun for you guys, where you're not just staring at my hands for 10 minutes while I talk about this stuff. So we'll just see if this works. So our topic for tonight is, should you do craft fairs? Now, I have 10 things that I think you need to answer before you even consider finding a craft fair in your area. Let's start with number one. Number one, do you have the time? It is so, this is my favorite watch. Look, that's so pretty. Oh, that's upside down. Okay, this is my favorite watch. Anyway, it takes so many hours to prepare for a craft fair. You're going to have to make, well, if you make everything yourself, it is so much time. So before you jump into a craft fair, you need to consider, do I have nights, do I have weekends, do I have days where I can just spend making things for the craft fair? A lot of times we love the idea of a craft fair, but then all the work comes into play and it's overwhelming. So remember, you're going to have hour upon hour upon hour. And we'll talk more about that in detail as we go. The next thing you want to think about is, do I have the money? Because it is going to take lots of money. This is nowhere near enough to do anything. As a matter of fact, this probably won't even pay for a booth. So you're going to have to think about the things you're going to have to spend money on, like supplies to make your products, booth rental, marketing materials, gas, and let's just say you have to get a hotel room because you have to stay in another city. And what if you have to take off vacation time? I don't know. There's numerous things you need to think about. Consider everything you'll have to purchase to have a great booth, and make sure you have enough money for that. We'll talk about that in another series as well. Got this from, you think I could keep this? Vince gave me this out of his wallet. He probably let me keep it. So, move on. The third thing I think you have to have is support. This is my family. Now, in my last craft fair, my hubby and my family are always huge supports. Like the last time I had one, Vince and Josh, who is much older now, were my road crew, and they did an awesome job. But lots of times people don't understand our passions the way we feel about them, so it's hard to prepare a craft fair if you don't have your family backing you up for all those nights you're too busy gluing and pasting and cutting to play Yahtzee or what have you with the kids. So you can always get your kids involved, but you have to have support. So if you don't have that support system, you might want to find it. So think about that one. Number 4, you have to have the personality for this. Now, how about this? I thought this was a good idea for personality. Look at these funny little personalities. These guys would be great at any booth. As Peachy Keen, they know that, right? But you have to have a personality. Remember this. If you're one of those people who are a wallflower, understand, I love wallflowers. Some of my best friends are wallflowers, but those friends get to run the cash register. It sounds a little mean, but the situation is this. You don't want to bombard the customers as they come up, but you certainly don't want to leave them. In my research to do this, I realized that you have about 3 seconds to keep their attention or get their attention. So remember, you got to have the personality to be able to talk about your product and bring people in. Now, I want to make this clear. I'm not asking you to be that guy at the mall with the remote control helicopter that always tries to make me think he's going to land it on my head. That's a little over the top. I'm just asking you to be subtly obnoxious. So if you've ever met me in person, you would probably know what I mean by subtly obnoxious, because I don't think I'm subtle. So you got to have the personality. Let's go to number 5. Do you have the product for a show? Now, let's talk product. These were some I used last time. Earrings. I used my stamp sets. I used these little chore reminders, and I did other things. One of the things you have to think about when doing your products, you want to do research to find stuff that not everybody's doing. Stuff you don't see in every craft fair all over the place. Although, you may have great prices or be able to market them at such great prices that your product is great, but you also want to have something unique and individual and that says, ooh, what is that? And why do I want to stop and look at it? So you got to think about your product. The other thing, this is really difficult to discuss. I talked to Vince, I'm like, how do I say this without hurting people's feelings? But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you have a business, and I'm going to use this for an example because I have relatives who are photographers. But if you have a business like photography, and you aren't doing pictures at the craft fair and giving people like 8x10s or something to go home with, it's kind of really just advertising at a craft fair for you, because you're really not going to be having people stop and ooh and ah over your product. They're going to look at your pictures and get your business card and use you for a future date. But understand that's not a bad thing. Sometimes the best place to advertise is with people who love the crafty vision and the idea that is art. So just know, if you rent a craft space for a craft fair and you don't have a tangible product, it's more advertising than actual sales. Now, I say that from my experience because Vince and I, Vince owns a business where he sells supplemental insurance. And we had some people ask us if we wanted to do a booth one time in a local little community fair. And we were like, well, really, we can't sell our product there. Nobody's going to want to sign up for life insurance at a booth. But we did it anyway because it was $10 for this booth. We already had banners, we already had flyers and leaflets. All it was advertising. But where else are we going to buy $10 advertising and talk to everybody in our town in a day, right? So think of it as advertising. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you don't have a tangible product, you probably won't come away with very much money from the show. Okay, so that's one. Move these guys out of the way. Then the next thing you have to do is you have to think, do I have the energy for this? This is my fake energy bar. I don't have energy bars at home. So look, this one says, when you don't have the real thing, fake it. So I just made this piece of paper energy bar. But listen, do you have the energy for this? Guys, the prep for this project alone is so tiring. Not to mention the process of thinking everything out and how many of this you're going to need, how many of that, what will you put that on, how long can you stand or sit, you know, will you start small and do like a 1-day show, or will you do a 4-day show? There's so much energy involved. You have to think, you know, where, not only am I going to make this earring, let me show you. The energy mindset, okay? Not only do I want to make this earring, which started out as a blank piece of wood, then I've got to embellish it, then I've got to hang it, then I got to make something to hang it on, then I got to display it on my table. The energy is so, and you have to have energy to do this. You cannot at halfway through it get bogged down and go, oh, never mind. Because think how much money you'll waste. So energy, energy, energy. The next thing that I think is important to have is the proper licensing. How about this? This lady has a license to sell. You have to have the proper licensing. Go to your city. Go through your county. Look online at the IRS and things like that, and make sure if there's any kind of resale license you need for your product or where you're going to be, that you get that. You don't want to show up that day and be all ready and spend all that time and then somebody go, oh, where's your permit? And you're like, what? And it's Saturday, and where are you going to get a permit? You know, think about those things also. Next, this one is stretching it, guys. This is a prop that's stretching it. You have to have confidence. See these rocks? I think, you know, you have to be the rock of this pile. You have to be so strong. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. People can be cruel. They do not mean to. They do not know that you spent hours on a project. They do not know that you cut every little piece out meticulously to be just perfect on that project. And you think it's the best thing you've ever created. And then here comes a sweet little lady who walks up and says, oh my Lord, is this a yard sale? You are crushed. Or somebody says, oh my gosh, who would put those colors together? Or you just hear it in the crowd. And you have to remember, not everybody sees your art the same way you feel your art. And that's okay, because some people do. But you got to have confidence. You have to be a rock. When people walk up and go, I wouldn't have done this, or my cousin makes these, but she makes these better. You know, my cousin makes these, but she adds that. You just got to let it, I wish I had a duck so it could be like water off a duck's back. You just got to let it roll. So, was that pushing it on that prop? Okay. The next thing you have to have, this is going to get tough for me, is you have to have a vision. These are my glasses. Can you see them? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. You have to have a vision. You have to be able to see your table and your products from start to finish. Before you even plan your table out, you need to be able to say, this is how I want it to look. I want it to be tall, short. I want it to have shelves. I want people to be able to stand all the way around it or just in the front of it. You have to have a vision for what you're going to do. This is before you even get started, guys. You have to do that, or else, you know, look, as the Bible says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And I know some people don't believe in the Bible or what have you, but even if you don't, those are words of wisdom. Because if you don't think about it and see it in your mind, you'll have the hardest time recreating it. Us artists have no problem with vision, but if you don't have a vision, this thing won't work. And then I'm putting these back on so I can read, because believe it or not, I have notes for myself. The last thing, number 10, is you have to be organized. This is my planner. I hesitate to show you. Let me see if I have. Okay, check this out. This is when I was taking the creators class for YouTube, and I was going through and it was telling me, you know, how I should be doing it, and I was making Mondays with May and Midweek Minute and Freestyle Friday and what playlist I wanted to put together. And this was for things for me and Taylor to do, but I want to show you like on a blank page. I'm just going to skip over. This is a perfect way to start your planner. Go ahead and say, you know, pay this fee, get this license, order this banner, and put yourself a nice, good organizational plan together for your booth. Without that plan, it'll just be chaos. And the day that it's ready to get things done, you're just going to be lost. So invest in a planner or a notebook or something where you can keep up with, even if you just use your iPad. And although I am very technologically not savvy, but interested, like I love my iPad, my iPhone, all that kind of stuff, I'm still a paper and pencil girl. I mean, because I guess I learned that's just the way I was brought up. So if you're that way too, get yourself a good planner. So let's go back over these again. So you need time. Okay, you're going to need the money. I really want to keep this money. You're going to need support from those around you. Stick them out here. You're going to need, I'm having to look, the personality for this. You're also going to need the products for this. I'm just going to grab one product and put it out. You're going to need the products for this. You're going to need the energy for this, okay? You're going to need the proper licensing for this. I should have I don't want to bring out a real license. That would be bad. And you're going to need the confidence for this. Bring those rocks over. You have to be a rock, okay? You're going to have the vision for this, and you're going to have the plan, the organization for this. I hope this was helpful so far. My plan is to take each one of these 10 things we just discussed and break them down and talk to you about exactly what you have to do inside of those. So the first thing we'll start talking about next week, and if I can, I'm going to do 2 or 3 at a time. So I don't know how many I'll get done in one video, but I know we're going to talk about time and money next week. How to plan your time, where to spend your time, and where to spend your money. Okay? So be back Friday. We'll talk more about craft fairs. And give me your comments, guys. I want to know, first off, did you like the props? And if you did like the props, which one was your favorite? And also, if you've done craft fairs, tell me if you agree with the 10 things I'm telling you now, or if maybe you thought it was just a breeze. And I want to make it really clear, I don't want to discourage you from doing a craft fair. I just want to be real honest with you. It's work. It takes time. It takes money. It doesn't just come together overnight. And I just want to be honest. So if you do a craft fair, you can go, you know what? This is not what I thought it was, and it's not because I haven't already done my research. I know. Anyway, guys, that's week number 1 for Are We Ready for a Craft Fair and Freestyle Friday. Don't forget to subscribe and thumbs this up if you like it, because that lets me know this is the kind of stuff you like. Also, thumbs up if you love this watch, because I do. Love you guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.